Hi, everyone. Welcome back to From the Inside Out. I'm Ida Schottenstein.
I'm Rivkah Krinsky, and we're very excited to bring you a beautiful episode today with a beautiful woman from the inside out, Tila Falic Levi. And we have an incredible sponsor, Kosher Travelers, and they've been creating unforgettable, fully kosher travel experiences for over 40 years now.
Whenever we travel, we're always trying to find where the good kosher food is. It's almost like first we want to see where the good restaurants are, and then we'll plan our trip around that. And I feel like sometimes you want to go to a really beautiful place, but you don't have access to kosher food there. And I think that's where Jewish kosher travelers can be very helpful because they go to places like Japan, Greece, Poland, Portugal, Spain. Some of these places might have kosher.
Everywhere.
I mean, some of these places might have kosher options, but a lot of them don't. And I think it's great to have this option of being able to go to places that don't necessarily have a thriving Jewish life or restaurants or, food. And then you can still go there. And if you're a kosher keeping person, you know how great it is to have great kosher food when you travel.
So they offer Jewish heritage tours and also cruises, and they have Pesach programs and more. And I happen to know the founders. They're really dedicated, warm, inviting people. They're actually from my hometown in Melbourne, Australia. And what makes them stand out is how personal they are, whether it's a small group in Dubai or hundreds of guests on a cruise that actually travel to meet everyone. So they'll be there to greet you when you come to one of their programs.
Visit koshertravelers.com and check out where they're going. Pretty amazing, actually. Just checked it out, and I told him I might be a new customer of his. Very cool destinations, very cool programs.
Very tempting once you see the website. And I've heard so many beautiful reviews from people who have gone there. And we'll have all the links in the show notes and the podcast notes. So let us know how your travels go when you pick one of their tours. So if you want a Jewish journey with heart and at the same time it be beautiful and luxurious, you must go through Kosher Travels and visit koshertravels.com. And if you want to be a sponsor on our podcast, you can message us on Instagram or go to rivkahandida@gmail.com and shoot us an email.
So on that note, we want to introduce today's guest, Tila Falic Levi, who is a Miami Beach native. She's a mother of 6, and she is on fire. She is unbelievable. She was recently named Jerusalem Post's 50 most influential Jews. She was also appointed by President Trump to the board of the United States Holocaust Museum. But really what inspires me is she's such a devoted mother, community member, philanthropist. She's so active in everything that she does in her community, in her family, and she's just a doer who is making such an impact. I'm so inspired just from this conversation. I've known her for a while, but only recently I've gotten to know her a little better through this podcast, and I'm just really blown away by everything that she's doing and by how she takes an active role in making a difference.
And I met Tila in the last couple of years, and you know that line, you had me at hello. As soon as I met her, she was so warm and inviting. I met her at her parents' house. They made a Sheva Brachot for a family member of mine, and they have a very open home. And she was just like, I felt like we were great friends right away. And you'll get to feel that in this conversation. She's a warm, inviting person who's a powerhouse at the same time. And I love her passion for Israel and doing as much as she can to bring light to Am Yisrael and Eretz Yisrael, and all the other things she does for her children, for her community, and around the world is really awe-inspiring. You'll also hear some of the challenges she's been through and how open she is about them and how she works through them. And I think this is a really important conversation for all women who are striving to be a better version of themselves, for women who want to bring light into the world and at the same time be a light in their home and an example as a wife and mum. So I love this conversation, and I have a feeling you are all going to love it too. We're looking forward to you being a part of it. So we can go right into the conversation and enjoy. Welcome, Tila Falic Levi, to From the Inside Out. Ida and I are both really excited about having you here because to us you represent the ideal woman that we want to interview. You have so many incredible roles, being a wife, a mother, an advocate for Israel. You were named one of the Jerusalem Post's 50 most influential Jews, which is amazing. This was very recent.
Very recent, thank you.
And that's an incredible honor.
Thank you.
So we want to know, first of all, what does that recognition mean to you personally as a mother and as a Zionist and as a woman who could easily stay comfortable at home and stay on the sidelines, but you choose to step up and make a real difference.
So first of all, thank you for having me. And I'm very excited to be here. I know a lot of the guests that were here before are such important people, so I'm humbled by the invitation. Thank you. And you said one word that stood out is being on the sidelines. Sideline is not part of my vocabulary. I was raised in a family of advocates, of proud Jewish leaders, and I was always taught to speak up and do the right thing. The truth is I wasn't really ever recognized for any of the things I did, and I wasn't really trying to get recognition. The reasons why I did things were always because it was the right thing to do. Being recognized by the Jerusalem Post, well, the Jerusalem Post is a world-renowned publication, and for Jews, it's a brand. So to be part of that brand, I'm proud of that. More than anything, though, for me to be recognized wasn't for me. It's nice to be alongside a lot of important people, but because of the things that I do, I get to be with important people a lot. For my children to see and document and read what I've done, and for them to be able to see who I am and see how proud they are, that's why it means something to me. And also to my parents and my grandmothers who have worked really, really hard. One grandmother is a Holocaust survivor. My other grandmother was born and raised in Israel. She comes from a family of founders of the state of Israel. She came to the United States, was a school teacher. And I think that for her to see her legacy through me and my Holocaust survivor grandmother's legacy through me, for them to be able to read about it in a important publication means something to them. So that's why I'm proud. I don't need my name in bright lights, but I'm happy that they all can have it.
Oh, that is a beautiful answer. Can you share a little bit about you, and about some of these accomplishments that were written in the magazine?
Well, from a very young age, I was always involved in community. And whether it was our local community or community events connecting people from here to Israel, my goal was always for Jews around the world to be proud and to connect to Israel. So wherever I was, that's the flavor that I brought. Whether it was in my children's school or whether it was at a local establishment that had a celebration, a JCC, a Jewish institution, I would always bring the blue and white. And it almost became that, like, if anybody was doing anything that had to do with Israel, they called me. And one time they needed fireworks. Another time they needed a raffle. Another time they wanted to teach kids about Israel, the history of the state of Israel. And through the education and through the contacts that I've had, I've been able to really bridge that gap between American Jews and Israeli Jews and bring Jews together with that common goal. Now, obviously, it's a growth experience, like a growing experience. And what I started locally eventually got bigger and grew, and my name grew with that. It was always associated to my family and what they've done in the Jewish community, and I'm very proud of that. But to now be recognized for myself makes me feel really good, because doing things for my community, community work is a thankless job. Sometimes it causes a lot of heartache. Many times it caused a lot of issues for me personally, where I stood up for things that were not popular or were not relevant at the time. And I got a lot of phone calls, and my kids have been targeted in the past. My husband asks me sometimes, like, you don't always have to say anything, like, can you please just tone it down? But I think that after October 7th, that changed. So it didn't change me. It changed everybody around me, and it became more acceptable to speak about things and to stand up for things that maybe weren't so popular before then.
Right.
Yeah, so you had like an introduction prior to October 7th. It was almost like you were practicing, so to speak, just speaking up and doing that. And then with October 7th, then it just probably, you're saying it was more acceptable by everybody else. And
right. So it didn't change me.
You're the same.
Right. I didn't change anything of what I was doing or what I was saying.
Right.
If you've been listening to me or paying attention to me, whether it was at like a shul event or at a school event or at a JCC, I many times said things that may not have been popular.
Even when you were a kid?
Always.
This was date back from
Yes.
childhood.
In school, I will say, in school, when everybody graduated with certain awards, I got no awards. I was never recognized because what I was saying or doing may not have been, I was always kind and I never was disrespectful, but I got no recognition when I was graduating high school. There was somebody else that got the Community Service Award. There was somebody else that got the Zionist Award. And I don't remember who they were, but I do remember that it didn't feel good. But it didn't change me. And so October 7th, a lot of people became very outspoken, which is not what happened to me. I just continued doing what I was doing. And after maybe 20 years or 25 years that I've been working in this space for nothing, for volunteer and for because it's what I believed in, it's almost like only now people started to recognize me. And I'm always happy to participate. Like, I'm game, whether we agree on things, whether we don't agree on things. I can have hard conversations. But it does feel good that now people want to ask me what my thoughts are or want to hear what I have to say, because I've been saying it for so long that I sometimes do know more about the situation or about the topic than other people that just came into this space.
Right. And you talk the talk, but you also walk the walk. Like, I feel like you've been an advocate, but also your daughter, maybe your children, went to the IDF and they served their country. So beyond advocacy, it's like knowing your children are at actual risk, like going to that extent because of your love for Israel. How do you navigate that? Like, are you afraid? Do you ever second guess? Like, I don't know. It's scary to be a parent of a child.
So
in the IDF.
I will clarify that my daughter went to the Army, was never at risk. I mean, a person in uniform may always be at risk, but my daughter's job was an office job. It was a 9-to-5 job in a foreign relations unit of Tzahal. And what that meant was hosting delegations from other militaries around the world. She would host them. She would do a lot of explaining and hasbara, which is what she grew up in. So it was perfect. She hosted 5-star military generals from the United States, and she hosted many important delegations. I was never scared for her life any more than I would be if we're all in Israel at a coffee shop. I mean, Israel is our land, and there are always issues. And back then, after the Oslo Accords, it was buses blowing up. Thank God we're not dealing with that. And October 7th was a horrible day. But for the most part, summers and holidays are spent in Israel by most people that I know. Growing up, it wasn't like that. We were the only family, many times in many hotels, that were there during difficult times in Israel, but we went no matter what. So that's how I was
Were
raised.
you scared to go at the
No,
time?
I was never scared. And I'm going to tell you, even as a parent, I do have a second son that's there now, and he's at Bar Ilan University. And I'm not scared, and I'm going to tell you why. I think I'd be more scared for my children to be in America on campus right now with the antisemitism that's going on, or even at a fraternity drinking. In Israel, I don't know why, I feel like my kids are safer. I feel like everybody's watching them. I feel like
Can I tell you why? Because Hashem has his eyes on Eretz Yisrael.
100%.
From the beginning of the year to the end of the year.
But that's what I wanted to say. Like,
Yeah.
Hashem has a plan. And God forbid, you could get into a car accident here, or you can trip and fall anywhere around the world. If something's going to happen, it's going to happen. You have to believe in Hashem. And I strongly believe in Hashem. And that's what keeps me, like, carefree, because I'm good. Like, Hashem's going to take care of my kids because I do good things in the world, and God willing, that will be their blessing. That's what we learn. Like,
You know that the Lubavitch Rebbe's approach was in the Gulf War during all these times when people would say, I'm scared, can I go back or should I not go to seminary? The Rebbe always encouraged people to go and to stay in Israel.
I remember admiring the Rebbe and his positions always. I got a blessing from the Rebbe when I was 9 years old. I was sick and I visited. And I'll tell you, this summer I was there during the Iran attack, and many people said to me, oh my God, you got stuck in Israel. I'm like, you don't get stuck in Israel. I did not get stuck in Israel. I was meant to be here. I chose to be here. I'm happy that I'm here, and my kids are going to learn a lesson. And they did. My older kids were in America. My younger kids were with me. We were separated for a month. It wasn't easy, but it was meaningful. And I find that, like, that's what it's all about. Life is about meaning and finding purpose. And so my little kids were singing on their way to the bomb shelter, thank you Hashem, and Hashem Yitbarach, and having a great time. Obviously, they don't understand the level of risk, but they were happy, they felt safe, and I showed them that Hashem has a plan.
That's such a beautiful, inspiring approach. I'm so glad you're sharing this on camera.
What message are you trying to really drive home here, like as a Zionist and an Israel advocate?
I truly believe that everyone will understand messages in different ways and how it applies to them. I don't have an agenda. I don't have a goal. I'm not looking for something specific. I want to be involved in anything that connects people to Israel. And I say people because there's many evangelical Christian friends that is very important to me for them to be connected to Israel, because I understand that we can't do this alone. And so whether it's somebody that's Jewish or not Jewish that wants to connect to Israel, I want to be there and I want to be a part of it. So I take it very seriously within my community by taking students to Israel. My family sponsored trips to Israel for 10 years in one institution. And now at our school, at Jewish Culture High School, that where my kids go and that I'm one of the founders,
Where is that school? Here in
It's
Miami?
here. It's here.
Yeah.
We sponsor a trip to Israel, but the trip comes along with a curriculum. And the curriculum is history of the state of Israel. It happens to be that now I teach it in our school, but before that, there's been amazing teachers that have taught it. And for me, there's a saying, like, you never know where you're going unless you know where you came from. So it's important to connect our history as Jews, to teach our children, to empower them, but not just our children. There's many adults that didn't have the opportunity. So I've been flying to Israel since I'm 6 years old. Sometimes it was easy and sometimes it was not. Actually, today, I got a call that I may have to leave tomorrow to Israel to host a dinner in my parents' home in Jerusalem. And I'm happy to do it because that's like my high, just to get people to love Israel, to connect and understand Israel and its importance in the world. Whether it's for Jews or non-Jews, whether it's religious, whether it's political, whether it's intellectual or because of technology, whatever the reason is, I think it's very important for Israel to be safe in order for Jews and America to be safe. And any way that I can bring that together, I'm on board.
Wow. How do you feel about how things are going right now in this present moment?
In this exact moment, I think we have a very fragile ceasefire. I really do trust the leadership in Israel and the leadership in the United States. I think we're living in very miraculous times, not only where we have a homeland, but where we have leaders that are strong, powerful, and have moral clarity on what needs to happen. I think there's no one in Israel or anywhere around the world that doesn't hope for peace. I don't know who our peace partners are. I hope that it could happen. And if it doesn't, thank God, Israel is strong. America is strong. The relationship between both, our Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, our President, Donald Trump, I mean, what's better than that? And I think that if there's going to ever be a positive change, it will be now. And so we're praying for peace like we always have.
Yeah, this is the ultimate goal, that we should have peace, but peace in a way where Israel is our homeland.
Peace through strength.
Not that there's a Palestinian state.
I don't believe in Palestine or Palestinians, if you want to know the truth.
Yeah, same
If
here.
you study history, there has never been an independent sovereign nation in the land of Israel called Palestine. It was always under another government. And because I teach government, I actually ask my students, where is Palestine? Who are the Palestinians? And they give me all kinds of answers. And they're all wrong, because the truth is, my grandmother was born in the British Mandate of Palestine. Under Great Britain, there was a British mandate, and it was called Palestine. And Jews and Arabs had passports that were Palestinian passports. But if you look up the Palestinian flag during that time, it's actually a Jewish star. So I think people like to tell their form of history. His story is someone's version. But I don't believe that there is a Palestine. I don't believe there is a Palestinian state. And I think that if there are people who are displaced, there are 55 countries that are Arab or Muslim countries that should take them in, just like the Jewish people took in their people from the Middle East when they were thrown out, or from Eastern Europe when they were thrown out. And if there's Arabs that are Israeli citizens, then they're Israeli, not Palestinian. There are 2 million who vote, who benefit from social and healthcare and transportation and government, and they can vote. It's the only place in the Middle East where Arabs can vote, because everywhere else is a dictatorship. So, no, I don't believe in a Palestinian state. I believe in a strong Jewish state. There's only one Jewish state. Everyone is welcome there. And if it's not good for them, they can go live somewhere else. It's a free country in America. If you want to live here, you can. And if you don't, you leave. It's very easy when it's a democracy.
So when you speak to people who are maybe not like staunchly on your side, they're maybe on the fence, or let's say students who are ignorant, what kind of responses do you get from people when you Like when you have these
Well,
discussions?
first I
like-
listen and I
right.
hear what they're telling me. And
Right.
if people are telling me things based on feeling, it's very different than things that are based on facts. So as a feeling, of course, as a human, we care about all humans. And as Jews especially, we care about Hashem's creation. So I have no problem with other people. I don't hate anybody. And so when I hear people have a different opinion, I listen to what they're telling me and then I answer them based on facts. But if you truly care about the Arab nation inside of Israel that lives either in Gaza or in Israel, if you truly care about them, then we should care that they have a better life. If that better life would be under Israel, because 2 million Arabs live within Israel's borders, then that's one solution. And if you believe that they should stay where they are and give them a better opportunity at life, then we need to help free them from terrorist extremism, which is currently Hamas, but there's the Muslim Brotherhood and there's the Palestinian Authority and there's so many others. But it all comes from education. And if we want to help other people break out of their inflicting life and society, then giving them freedom is freeing them from their own oppressors. And Israel is not the oppressor.
Right. So how are people
You
not hearing
articulated that very well.
Yeah.
I care about other people. If I can help anyone, I would. And if I can get all the little Gazan children out of there and educate them and feed them and show them what it's like to have a nice life, I would do it. I just think that there's so many countries that have so much money and can invest so much in their own education like we do as Jews. We take care of our own. Everybody should take care of their own. But if somebody else needs my hand, I'm happy to help them. And it's hard to get that message out there because of social media and because of mainstream media that keep perpetrating lies that they read. There was never a genocide. The numbers of population has grown dramatically since 1948 when Israel became a state of the Arab nation within Israel and also in Gaza. And there was never a famine. Nobody there died of starvation. There was access to food. Of course, you're going to get people distorting reality, but I feel like if people really want to know the truth, they can. I wanted to see what was happening in Gaza as far as the food distribution. I joined a diplomatic mission and I went and I saw the food distribution center and I experienced, I think it was like 50 diplomats from all these different countries asking questions and people giving them answers. Like, if you really want to know, the information is there. It's very easy to just tell a story, but
Right. You have to
but
want
how
to
much
know.
research did you do?
Right.
And how much did you really look into this? When somebody said that in Judea and Samaria, settlers burned down a church, I went to the church. There was never a fire. There was a fire outside of the church. And it had not been started by Jews. It had been started by Arabs who were fighting the Jewish settlers. So
Yeah.
obviously not everybody can get on a plane and go there. But I
Right.
think that
But
if you
you
want to
should-
look
you gotta look into it.
Yes, look into it.
Yeah.
Ask questions.
On the subject of Judah and Samaria, can you share a little bit about how you feel about Judah and Samaria, because it's quite the controversial topic? I feel so inspired by the people that live in Judah and Samaria. They are the ones that are helping to make sure that Israel stays with us.
It's the Judean frontier.
Yeah.
So there's so much I can say about this topic, but just so you know, today there was a first reading of a bill that passed very strongly in Knesset supporting Judea and Samaria and trying to eventually, there has to be 3 readings and then it goes to the higher ups, but to bring sovereignty to Judea and Samaria. What that means is that the Jews of Judea and Samaria are Israeli citizens. They're already part of Israel. There's about 2 million Arabs that live in Judea and Samaria. Other people call it the West Bank. We do not, because that's grammatically and historically and geographically incorrect. That's a whole other lesson. But in Judea and Samaria, you have people that are living that belong to no one. They don't have a passport. That is not Israel's fault. In 1967, Israel won a war that they did not start. The borders changed. Jordan originally was created to be the Arab state next to the Jewish state in the 1947 partition plan. Jordan was meant to be for the Arabs of the region, and Israel was meant to be for the Jews of the region. The Jews kept the Arab citizens that were living in Israel. The Jordanians moved back into Jordan in 1967, and they left their people, their refugees. So the Palestinian people that call themselves that today are refugees of other countries. They are not refugees of Israel, because Israel never took over any land and it didn't belong to Israel before. Now, sovereign Israel. Biblically, Judea and Samaria is where Jews come from. Jews are from Judea. And Jews come from Judea and Samaria because the entire Torah, the entire story, biblical story, and the biblical claim happened in Judea and Samaria. It did not happen in Tel Aviv or Haifa. It did happen in Jerusalem.
Yes.
But when you read about Abraham, Isaac,
it's
Jacob,
all in those areas.
Abraham walked there. Isaac was taken there for sacrifice. Jacob had a dream. It tells you specifically where it was, how it happened, and who was there. And so if we have a biblical claim to the land, it comes from Yehuda v'Shomron, Judea and Samaria. On a separate note, today you have about 500,000 Israelis, Jews, that live in Judea and Samaria. So they are a part of Israel. They benefit from the Israeli government. They benefit from social services. They benefit from whatever a government can give you. Israeli residents in Judea and Samaria benefit. The people who are lost in between and in limbo are the Arabs, because Jordan never claimed responsibility, never took in their people, and Israel inherited these people. So by giving sovereignty to Judea and Samaria and including people into the system of government in Israel, you're actually helping 2.5-3 million Arabs of the area to survive, to be paid minimum wage, for women to have rights. All the things that happen in a democratic society in Israel could be applied in the area. So when people say that Israel is the occupier, or there's a genocide, or they're trying to take away their land, Israel is only trying to help the people around them. And the happier the people are around them, the happier Israel is going to be. And it's a problem because it's a misconception of what's going on in Judea and Samaria. If you go there and you see it and you understand.
I've been there too.
Again, you see there are communities, there are businesses, there's full, this isn't settlers on trailers. Like, this is full communities with schools, with synagogues, with cemeteries. Generational families have been living there already for 3 or 4 generations. So to come in now and say that Jews don't belong there, I think it's a hard argument to have when you know the facts.
Well, they've been saying that for a while, that Jews don't belong there, but even more so now. But when I think about where we are today, and I think about Gush Katif, and that there was a settlement that was evacuated.
But it wasn't even a settlement. It was 8 communities.
Yeah, well, communities, and beautiful communities.
Beautiful communities, thriving communities who had to dig up their loved ones, rebury them, and sit Shiva because they believed in peace and because they believed for a better future. And then October 7th happened. So the proof is in the pudding.
And here we are. So we need to learn from past experiences.
I wish we did, but we usually don't.
Yeah. Well, maybe individually, us talking about it is going to help.
We should learn from past experiences, and we should learn to strengthen our own. Because I will tell you, another thing that people don't know is the Queen of Jordan, Rania, very proudly proclaims that she's a Palestinian. Well, if you're a Palestinian, then take in your people that you consider to be refugees. They are your responsibility. There's 2 million Palestinian refugees living in tents and in displaced camps in Jordan. Forget Israel, forget Judea and Samaria. Take care of your people, bring them in, make them citizens, but the problem is they don't want to. So to throw the problem on Israel and then make Israel the villain in the story is just confusing because it's not based on facts.
Are you seeing a difference in the way people are responding to your advocacy and to your work now over time? Like, how have things changed over time for you? Because I feel like now
100%.
with social media, we have all these echo chambers, and there's so many influencers who are preaching to their own choir. But what have you seen, like, in terms of actual change over time since you started being vocal about Israel?
So 25 years ago, my family started looking into helping communities in Judea and Samaria. And the reason that they started was because in the 90s, the Golan Heights was up for grabs. The Israeli government was talking about giving it to Syria for peace. They didn't. Not only they didn't, but Donald Trump recognized the Golan Heights as sovereign Israel in his first term. Now, what we saw in that experience of going to Israel and speaking to people is that people took ownership of the Golan Heights because they were invested there. They were invested financially, they were invested touristy. Like, nobody wanted to give up the most beautiful part of Israel where they can go and travel and where they can go stay overnight with their families and go do all these activities there. And people invested in the infrastructure to make it permanent. With that thought process, my family decided to invest in certain things in Judea and Samaria, because it's almost like if you don't use it, you lose it, right? So there's communities that are there. How do we bring other people there to visit? And I'll tell you about two projects that we did. One was a visitor center in Shiloh. Shiloh was the first capital where the Mishkan stood for the Jewish people biblically. It's so important. If not as important as Jerusalem, it's pretty
also
up there.
where Hannah came and prayed for a child.
Exactly. And the whole story of Hannah and Shmuel happened there. Now, it was in ruins. There was nothing there. There was nothing to see. There was nowhere to visit. And people didn't even know that it was important. I think there was about 10,000 visitors that used to come there throughout the year. And my family, together with the government, the local government there, built this structure that is like a museum, and it's in memory of my grandfather, and you can come there
I
and
have been
see.
there, and it touched me so deeply.
But you understand it because you're experiencing it. You know what, you remember it because it's an experience that you internalize either spiritually or physically, and there's something there to see. We also invested in a winery, which at the time was making 8,000 bottles. And today that winery,
Psagot, yeah.
was started
There's
by
now weddings happen there.
It was started by a young couple making wine out of their trailer, and it was 8,000 bottles. They won all kinds of awards, and we invested there really for ideological reasons. But eventually it became like a real hub. And the reason I'm using these two as an example is because for many, many, many years, we would travel to Israel just to bring people there. Come with us to Shiloh, come with us to Judea and Samaria. And today, I don't know if you've been watching, but over the summer, number 3 in the American government is the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson. He visited Israel and specifically wanted to go to Judea and Samaria. He visited Shiloh. He went there. He saw it for himself. The State Department had never crossed into Judea and Samaria. So not only did they recognize it, but they're celebrating it by allowing him to go there. And we have a Speaker of the House that wants to go there and requested to go there. So that's number 1. And then as far as the Israeli government, it used to be that ministers were not allowed to go there because of security. And today, their meetings are at Psagot. You'll walk in there any afternoon. There's a coffee shop that you can come have wine or coffee or pastries, lunch, and you'll find people having meetings there. You'll have people doing very important things there. We've had senators, congressmen, Hollywood actors, influencers, everybody come through there because it became such a conversation. And now It's like mainstream. It's not a big deal anymore. And people don't call it the West Bank anymore.
Right. By the way, for all our listeners who don't know what Gush Katif is, Gush Katif was in Gaza, where now there are tunnels and where the hostages were taken.
8 communities that displaced.
Where we've been looking for all the hostages, that's where Gush Katif was.
Exactly.
Yeah, just so you know. But maybe because people recognize what happened, they want to support all the settlements. Do you think that's what it is?
I think we have to get away from calling it settlements. I know that that's what everybody calls it, but I truly believe that it's communities. It's no longer a settlement.
I like that. So
when you have a shul and you have a mikvah,
yes,
and you have a school and you have 10 families, right? Because you need a minyan. It's a community.
Yeah, I agree.
These communities are much more than just 10 families, but that's how they start.
Yeah.
So a lot of them, we were involved
I just want you to know, my dad was also, that's why I went to visit all those settlements too. When we used to go to Israel, my father supported a lot of these communities. And
so then
does.
You've seen it. You see how when you build a shul or when you build a mikvah or when you build a reason for people to come there, they come. People feel connected to the land. People have history there. People want to be there. We have to make it easier for them. So I'm actually a delegate in the World Zionist Congress, which is coming up next week, and I'm leaving to Israel on Sunday.
Oh, wow.
And the party that I'm with is Israel 365 Action, and our platform is strengthening Judea and Samaria and strengthening the relationships between Jews and evangelical Christians who believe in Judeo-Christian values, which is all of Judea and Samaria, basically, because that's where their story took place too. So I'm traveling there next week, and we're bringing forth a resolution to recognize sovereignty in Judea and Samaria within the Congress, which is Jewish leadership from around the world. It doesn't decide anything, but it gives support to the Israeli government if and when they're ready to apply sovereignty, to show them that people from all over the world agree with this. So I'll keep you posted on what happens.
Oh, that's really amazing.
But that's a resolution that we're bringing forward. And from what I see, many, many people understand it now, support it now, and want it to happen. Because Israel won a war in 1967. They were overwhelmed. They tripled in size. They didn't know what to do there. So they put it on hold. And by not applying sovereignty immediately, and I don't say annexation, because you don't annex something that was already yours, okay? It's like we're understanding that it's ours. Sovereignty is taking government and bringing the rules of the judicial system and the government system there. I think that it's something that needs to happen. I think that it's not just me
By the way, the Rebbe did speak, the Lubavitch Rebbe did speak about it back then.
100%.
That there's going to be repercussions. And
there were repercussions.
Yeah.
And everything that we read about in the Torah is happening before our eyes.
Yeah.
Even when the hostages came out right before Simchas Torah, Hoshana Rabbah, there was a lot that was written. We're Jews. We're people of faith. We're people of the book. We believe in it. And if we believe in it, this is where it happened. And so if we want to talk about Judea and Samaria, there's so much to say, but I think the most important thing is that we need to call it Judea and Samaria. We need to visit Judea and Samaria, and we need to support the communities there to continue to grow so that we have more presence in our biblical homeland.
Yeah.
I like that your focus is a lot about empowering people like Jews to be more proud, to love Israel more, and people who are friends to build on that friendship. It's a positive way to go about advocacy, as opposed to, and there's a place for this as well, but for people to kind of debate people on the opposing side and trying to sway people's opinions who are much more difficult to sway, or like people who are just not going to see things your way. There's a lot of people on social media who are just angry at the opposing side.
Kindness, though, and logic and calm makes people listen. Getting angry and screaming about things that gets nothing done.
And like you say, history and facts.
Right.
Yeah.
And the truth is that there's people in Israel who don't agree. You have a lot of people on the left in Israel that don't agree. But I have found when I sit in small conversations with people that completely disagree with me, that don't want anything to do with any of the things that I believe in, after we get up and we have a conversation, they will say to me, and this has happened on the radio, it has happened on TV, and it has happened in coffee shops. They will say to me, wow, I didn't realize that people like you could listen, or I didn't realize that people on the right really cared about me, or I didn't realize that I agree with you. I don't think that we're fighting or we're against each other. I think that maybe we don't understand each other. And my kids say that I'm a liberal because I like listening to other people, and I do engage with people that disagree with me instead of just like a no tolerance, I don't want to talk to you, because I could speak to you, but you agree with me, so we get nothing done. The way to change things is really to kill people with kindness and listening.
By the way, we can get something down because 3 people can do a lot.
We can do a lot, but we're not going to change each other's mind. We're all on the same page.
Yeah. No, if you can change someone's mind, I think a lot of people's minds would change.
But I'm not trying to.
Yeah.
Although it does happen.
Yeah.
It happens a lot.
What, that you change their minds? Well,
yeah.
I think part of it is that you know facts. You have a lot of history to back you up. And so you feel confident in what you're sharing.
Exactly. And exactly. There's people that are confident in nonsense, but when you disprove them, you disarm them. And so it's very easy to have a conversation, whether it has to do with anti-Semitism, whether it has to do with the war, whether it has to do with the hostages. Listen, there are people that were for the deal, people that were against the deal. At the end of the day, watching 20 people walk out alive, there's not one person that didn't celebrate. Even if we had disagreements before, in that moment, 15 million Jews, plus all of our friends and allies around the world, were watching 20 people come out alive. And every single one of us celebrated that moment. Who wasn't happy to see them come out? Politics, we agree, we don't agree. It makes sense, it doesn't make sense. They are alive, they're not alive, they're here. We saw them. Who didn't celebrate? And to show the world that we as Jews care about 20 people, 15 million Jews versus 20 and 15 million people are celebrating, I think it says a lot about who we are. And no matter what we agree or disagree on, We love each other.
This was a
That
miracle.
moment.
That moment was a miracle. And I saw you put in your story, there were a lot of different emotions that day, because there were a lot of different emotions, because at the same time as watching this miracle, we're thinking about all the soldiers' lives that were lost. And
Or victims of terror, that the terrorists were getting let out that day.
yeah,
The Fogel
exactly.
family's killer, Daphne Mayer's killer, blood on his hands, getting out, going free in exchange for our people.
Yeah.
Do I agree? Do I disagree? It doesn't matter. They're here. We're going to celebrate that they're here, and we're going to celebrate our win.
Yeah, we're going to celebrate that they are home, and we have to think about what are we going to do differently now, because
100%.
how can we negotiate with a terrorist? Because you see what happens now. We're worried about the cycle
There's talk
happening.
in Israel about instituting the death sentence for terrorists, because then there's nothing to talk about. If a person gets caught murdering somebody else, they would get the death penalty. And honestly, I think in most countries around the world, that's how it works. The fact that we arrest them and give them a better life in jail than where they even came from, they get education, they get good food. I mean,
And then they're
it's
released.
controversial. Yeah, it's controversial. Some people will say, how could you mistreat the terrorists that are in jail? And how can you not give them better standards? I mean, they should be dead. You just killed a whole family in their bed. It happened. And their killer went free. So it's a hard
I
balancing
mean,
act.
Sinwar is an example. of
Sinwar
that.
came out with Gilad Shalit. Did we celebrate Gilad Shalit? Are we happy he's home? 100%. There's not one person that said, I wish he didn't come home. We're happy he's home. But we also realize that we let go an arch terrorist. Maybe we need to track them better. Maybe we need to watch them closer. Israel will need to make a lot of changes as far as what happens next. But I also think that there's going to be a lot of new leadership coming out of this pain. Maybe these hostages, or maybe the soldiers that are injured, or maybe the mothers that have fought so hard.
Yeah.
Our future leadership will come from this next generation of people that really fought hard for their homeland.
Oh, you're giving me the chills.
What's been the cost for you personally through all this advocacy work and everything that you've done, or professionally? Like, what has it been like for you in terms of what you had to deal with, or the challenges, or what the
I've
price that you
said it
paid?
before. I'm not for everyone. Some people like me and some people don't. But at least you're going to know exactly where I stand and what I'm thinking. I'm not a hypocrite, and I don't bend for anybody. I'm very clear in my conviction, and I will fight for what I believe in. It doesn't mean that I can't be friends with people who disagree or do business with people who disagree. I'm okay if you disagree with me. I'm very comfortable with myself and with my position.
Because that's because you feel you're sharing the truth.
Well, I feel like it's emet. I'm speaking truth, and so I'm very comfortable with that. And it's very liberating to not really care about what people think. Thank God I have a family that really is very supportive of the things that I do. I live in a community that understands it also. But I will say, even within the community, I have gotten phone calls like, why did you have to say this publicly? Or why are you calling out so-and-so? And how come you didn't consult with us first? We are such and such organization, and we represent the Jewish community. You know, I represent myself. And if you think I'm a leader in your community, thank you. And that you care what I think, thank you. But I'm not going to bend for anybody. And I'll tell you, without throwing anyone under the bus, before October 7th, I had a very uncomfortable experience where my son was at a soccer game where there was clear anti-Semitism. And I don't want to get into the details because then it'll be very obvious. And I don't want to insult anybody because that's not the point of this. My son was at a soccer game and he heard himself, the non-Jewish players saying to the Jewish players, go back to the ovens, Hitler was right, and things like that. My son at the time was 13 years old, was terrified, came home like completely freaked out. I've never experienced anti-Semitism. I know it exists, obviously, but we live in Miami. I live in Bell Harbor. I've lived here my whole life. I never had that experience. Thank God, or unfortunately, I don't know. But when my son, a mom is going to defend her child no matter what.
Yeah.
So I immediately made that story very public.
Where did you share it?
I called a lot of people that have social media accounts that shared it. I called local news. I called leaders in the community. Not everybody was on board. Not everybody agreed with me. They preferred to keep it quiet and sweep it under the rug and make it go away. I got calls from people that I'm very close to. I ended up spending a weekend in tears. I was crying not because I was offended. I couldn't believe that my community that I am so proud to be a part of was being so weak. How are we not responding? How are we not fighting back? And they said, no, you're endangering our children. You know, a lot of things happened after that changed.
There was a lot of fear.
There was a lot of fear. There was a lot of anger, and a lot of anger was taken out on me.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
And I was not the person.
This was before October 7th.
This was before October 7th. And there was one rabbi who came out with a message and a statement saying, we need to fight back. We're Jews. And he called me and he said, I wrote that message because I wanted to support you. And I wanted you to know that I agree with you and you're not alone. But if you would know how many people have called me asking me to get you to stop and to shut up, you would be surprised. People called my father. People called my husband. Like, why does your wife have to go around talking about everything, putting our community at risk? Why do we have to be the spotlight?
I love you. You're great.
And you know what? It wasn't easy. And my kids were embarrassed. Yeah. My husband was upset.
What about your son that it happened to?
At one point, he was like, Mom, stop. The school's going to hate me. They're going to throw me out. And I ended up pulling out of the school because I wasn't comfortable with my son being there for many reasons. But
wow,
it was really hard. And it wasn't a comfortable moment. I do not regret for 1 second anything that I said or that I did. And the people that at the time, because let's say it was 3 years ago, called me out, yelled at me, called my friends, make her stop, tell her to stop talking about it, tell her to stop fighting. Why does she always have to be involved in everything? That was like the main one. And many people have apologized. Many people told me I was right. And many people realized that they should have done something about it because calling out anti-Semitism 3 years ago was not popular.
Right.
But today,
now it's
we're
popular.
all fighting anti-Semitism.
Right.
When you were hearing all those people say what they were saying, were you second guessing yourself in those
No.
moments, or you never did?
No, I said, I'm not going to shut up. I'm not going to stop. I'll pull my son out of school if he's now going to be a target. And if people don't want to be friends with me, they don't have to be friends with me. I have enough friends. I'm okay with that. I actually defended a kid who, I'm trying to be so careful because I don't want to offend anybody, but I have defended a kid who actually got into a fist fight because he was the only kid that jumped into this game and punched the other kids in the face. And this kid ended up in the hospital. And I defended this kid and I posted that he deserves a Medal of Honor. And I posted that he's a hero and that he should be leading every Jewish parade and every Jewish institution. And he was considered a troublemaker. Like, he went and got into a fight and he started the fight because nobody heard what my son had heard. And I saw this kid 2 days ago at a restaurant. And I said to him, do you remember me? And he's like, I'll never forget you.
Yeah.
You're the only person that stood up for me. Everybody was against me. And it's thanks to you that the school didn't throw me out because I made it such an issue. So I don't care what they thought. If this kid thinks that I'm his hero and I think he was a hero, I'm good with that. I don't really care what everybody
That's all you
else
need.
thinks. And I will say one more thing. On this topic and on everything else we've spoken about, my parents are very supportive of everything that I do, emotionally and physically, and they come out and they support me, and people will call and complain to my parents about me, and they always defend me. But my mother's more political and she wants her friends to like not be offended by the things that I say. But my father always says to me, in the story with the 12 spies, we remember two. We remember Yoshua and we remember Caleb. Why? Because those were the two that spoke up.
Yeah.
It wasn't popular. It wasn't common. They were not the majority, but they were right.
Yes.
And those are the ones that we remember. So don't be afraid to speak up. And that's how I live my life. I want to be one of the two. I don't want to be one of the 12. I don't need to be popular. I don't need to be liked. Thank God.
Right is not always popular. What's popular is not always right.
And most of the time, I'm not part of the majority. I'm part of the minority. And it's okay. I'm comfortable with that. My kids now are comfortable with that. And the reason that they are is because I've been recognized for things that I've done. So until then, they would get a little bit nervous and like uncomfortable with the things that I did.
I think that's pretty amazing of you. Like, you were like standing up to your family as well to be like, I really believe in this. And even though your kids were a little bit nervous.
My kids were very nervous and very embarrassed and still are very embarrassed by some things that I post. And I really don't care. And I tell them, you don't have to follow me. And nobody has to follow me. I'm not a public account. If you follow me, it's because you're interested in me. And if not, you can unfollow me. I'm not getting paid for followers, so it's fine.
I'm interested.
Thank you. It got me here.
No,
I'm happy
really
to be here.
I'm so blown away by you. You have so much courage. And courage is one of the rarest virtues out there. And I think a lot of people lack it. And I think that's what is just so amazing about you, is the courage you have to just stand up for what you believe in, no matter what the opposition looks like. And there's this quote, truth is not more true because more people believe it, and it's not less true because less people believe it. And I think people need to remind themselves of that a lot. Usually the popular opinion is what people want to cling to.
Right.
And sometimes it takes time. Like, you have to really believe it in the moment because it's so unpopular.
Well, right. Now
a few years later.
Everyone's talking about fighting anti-Semitism.
Yeah.
Everyone's talking about sovereignty in Judea and
Now
Samaria.
it's more mainstream.
So how does that feel for you now that all of a sudden,
it gives me more strength. It does. I'm not angry. It gives me more strength to do more because clearly I was on the right side and it made a difference. I will say, you said that I have courage. I do have courage. I don't think I'm brave. And I'm going to tell you why. I think there's a difference. I have courage because my work doesn't depend on it. My family doesn't depend on it. I understand that people are restricted by the workplace or by their career, or like if they say something that's not popular, they can lose their parnasa or they can lose their status wherever they are. Even in a school, you can be in a Jewish school that doesn't believe these things, and your kids could be targeted for the things that you do, might have been twice or 3 times. And so courage is being able to have that. But I have people behind me, and I'm very secure, thank God, where my life is not going to change because of the things that I say. But being brave is, for me, the people living in Israel. Like, I'm not brave. I'm speaking into a microphone fully protected with an ocean view in Bell Harbor. My life is not going to be in danger. My life's not going to change at all by the things that I say. I hope. But being brave is actually fighting the fight. And so the soldiers are brave. Their wives at home, living alone during a war, raising children and not being able to defend themselves if, God forbid, a terrorist shows up at their door like they did on October 7th. They're brave. I'm not brave. And no one on social media is brave. We're courageous. And I don't think it's the same thing. And people are being awarded for their bravery and courage for saying the right thing or doing the right thing, and it's very nice, but I don't think that we are at all on the same level as the people living in Israel, especially in this generation and especially in these last 2 years. They are brave. They are the heroes of the Jewish people, and it's because of them that we are safe. So
that's an important distinction.
It's not the same thing.
Courage and bravery, but courage counts. And
of
and
course,
it's important.
And courage can lead to bravery.
Yeah.
So, and
your courage is helping the people who are brave.
I hope it is. I think it is.
But the people who are brave, it's the ultimate self-sacrifice.
Right. I have a friend that lives in East Jerusalem in an Arab village. She's fully protected by the Israeli army. She has 9 children. She's a social worker, and her husband has been away for 90% of the last 2 years. He missed his son's bar mitzvah. He's missed all the birthdays, and she's holding down the fort. She's brave. She's a warrior. Like, I am not her at all. And I'm so proud to be her friend. And I'm so proud that I can talk about her and tell these stories. But just like her, there's thousands in Israel. And those are the people that really, really deserve all the recognition and all the help and all the support.
And we owe a big thank you to them for
100%.
for protecting us and risking their lives.
100%. Because Jews in Bell Harbor are safe because of them.
We're taking a moment to acknowledge that bravery and thanking all our soldiers.
I'm so grateful for this generation. You know, in Israel, they said that they thought it was like a TikTok generation. And they said that, like, how can you compare this generation to the people who established the state of Israel in 1948 or that fought in the Yom Kippur War? And I think that they surprised us. Even the prime minister called the Iran attack Am Kelavi Yakum. The nation rose as a lion, and they did. And at the beginning, they didn't have the right support. We had a different administration who was boycotting Israel and not supporting Israel, and our leadership and our soldiers and the society and the children and the mothers were there. And it's incredible. It's incredible to watch.
Yeah. To be living in a time, too, where the leadership in the United States of America is so supportive
Thank God.
of Israel.
Thank God. We couldn't have done it alone.
It led to, we could, at this point.
I mean, I say we. I am an American, and I'm a Jew, and Israel is our homeland. And it's true that, our hearts and our bodies can be in 2 different places. I am very grateful to be living in the United States. I am very proud of our leadership here. And I'm very grateful for everything that they did for Israel, because it's very clear that Israel could not have done this alone.
They needed America, and America stepped up.
Yeah. And America needs Israel too for many other reasons. And a safe Israel will be a safe America, because the intelligence and the technology and the influence of the Jewish people around the world helps America in every way. And so it's a beautiful partnership when both benefit from each other.
I just think to live a comfortable life and to take on the challenge of doing what you do is really amazing, because there's a lot of people who just simply won't do it, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with not taking on that like very hard and strong approach.
I don't know another way.
I just right.
I was raised this way, and my sisters and my brother are the same. Everyone in their own capacity. My brother also went to the army, so everyone in their own capacity. I don't know anything different, but I have worked very hard, and it does feel good now to know that I was heard and to be able to continue it formally, because now I have been recognized either by the Jerusalem Post or also by the Trump administration.
Yeah, share with us what your new recognition is in the Trump administration.
Well, it's a role. It's not recognition.
Okay.
I have to work for it.
Okay.
But the Holocaust Museum in DC is a government entity. And what that means is that everyone on the board is a presidential nominee. And there's some seats that are also for senators, congressmen. There's a certain amount, there's a balance there. So 13 people were picked by President Trump. I am one of the 13.
Witkoff one of
yes,
them?
Alex is one of them.
Shout out to you.
Alex is a great guy. We're good friends. Alex
Same.
is doing amazing things. And already having these 13 nominees has changed something within the museum.
So you're one of the nominees.
I'm one of the 13.
And how did that come to be?
I kind of know and I kind of don't know.
Okay.
I hosted somebody in Judea and Samaria on a trip that they were on, and then I hosted them in my home. He was very impressed by the things that I said, and when they were putting names into this hat, let's say, he put in my name. And that person is Sid Rosenberg. He's a radio personality from New York. He has the biggest radio show in New York.
Okay.
And we became very good friends. He was very impressed with the things that I had done. He had never heard of me. He didn't know all these things. And then he was contacted by Siggy Flicker. And Siggy Flicker is very close to the president.
Okay.
And Siggy and him put my name into this hat. Now, obviously, then the administration has to do some research,
Right.
and then they figure out, I mean, I think they had 100 recommendations. So I found out when I came back from Israel, I was lying in bed, my phone would not stop ringing, and I was trying to go to sleep because I was so tired.
Yeah.
And I had come back from this like
When was
amazing
this?
trip.
Oh, just a
In
little
the
while
spring.
ago.
In
Okay.
the spring. Yeah, in the spring. I think it was April time.
Okay.
Right after Yom Ha'atzmaut, so it was May. And my phone is ringing off the hook. And when I look, President Trump had tweeted my name along with other people,
Oh my
congratulating
gosh.
me on my nomination. So at first I thought someone was playing a joke on
Okay.
me. And my brother called me. He's like, is it real? And then my cousin answered on a group chat. I Googled it. It's real. Like I
Oh
looked
my
it
God.
up. So President
You never
Trump
know
does
with
not
some-
know me. He doesn't know me
But he
personally.
will know you.
I hope so. I have a lot of good things to say to him. He doesn't know me. Many people around him know me. And I guess it's a platform to be able to do more. And
Yeah.
I take it like a very big responsibility. I have not been very active in Holocaust education because we were always so focused on Israel education. But after October 7th, a lot of that came together.
Right.
And one of the first things that we did at the museum, the 13 appointees actually, is that we requested to do a permanent exhibit at the Holocaust Museum for October 7th.
Uh-huh.
And it was inaugurated just now last week on October 16th, because October 7th was a Jewish holiday.
Right.
October 16th was the Hebrew date. And we had a beautiful ceremony for October 7th in the museum with a lot of wonderful people, including Steve Witkoff, who had just come back from releasing the 20 hostages together with the Israeli government and the president. And he came to speak, and seeing the Holocaust survivors at the museum that volunteer there every day, and it's their life, and then being there with the leadership that had just released hostages, with injured soldiers at this ceremony, was surreal.
Wow.
But it almost felt like we did it, like we did something good, we did something important. And then they had a kosher event, which not every event was kosher at the museum. So little by little, we're making some changes.
Wow.
There's always
It's so inspiring that this came from you speaking truth.
No, it didn't come just from me. We worked
No, I'm talking
together.
about you getting this position.
The position. So yeah, I was recognized.
Yes, the event
without
sounds so
asking.
inspiring. I wish I was there. But the actual, this role that you have now.
I take it seriously because I was recognized by the American government, and that's huge.
Yeah.
And I feel like if I'm recognized to be a Jewish leader among other Jewish leaders, I have to do a lot with it. So
Yeah. Well, Hashem should bless
Bezrat
you
Hashem.
to accomplish everything you want to and then some.
Thank
How do you empower the next generation if you're speaking to a group of young people and they want to know how they can step up and be like you or be stronger advocates? What would you tell them, like how to do it?
Number one is get involved in anything, whatever you're passionate in. And I say it to young people or people who are not involved. After October 7th, it was like a call to action and everybody wanted to be involved in something. But if you see, some people are involved with injured soldiers. Some people are involved with soldiers on the front lines and making barbecues. All of that is important. Some people are involved with widows, some with orphans, some with advocacy. Everybody has a talent, everybody has a gift, and everybody has a passion. So if your talent and that passion brings you to a specific cause, just do something with it. And whether it's locally in your own circle, or if you can do it globally if you have a platform and you use it for that, which so many people have, and I commend them for using their platform on social media, because many people have the platform and don't use it because they don't have the courage. But I just think that everybody in their own capacity can do something. And whatever that something is, it sounds like an oxymoron or like, a joke, like let's do something for our country. But like, it's true. Get involved, do something, and something will lead to something else. Mitzvah goreret lemitzvah. So if you do one thing, you will lead into another. And I think that that's what happened with me. I started doing small things that led to bigger things that took me to very important places. But it comes with responsibility, and I'm not there for the picture. I usually don't even get a picture because I'm embarrassed to ask for a picture because I'm there for another purpose. So I don't always get the picture, but I'm there and I get the moment, and then that moment takes me to another moment. And so
That's beautiful.
I think it was John F. Kennedy that said, don't ask what your country can do for you, ask what you could do for your country.
Ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country.
Right, so we can do that within our community, within our country, or for Israel. And there's so much need and there's so much to do, so just get to work.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Faith, emunah, has that played a role in your work and your family?
100%. Because if you don't have faith, you don't believe in a higher being or that somebody is helping you, then it's frustrating. It's hard. It's hard to get through. Whether it's a health challenge or a family challenge or even a financial challenge, whatever it is, if you trust that there's someone above that loves us and wants the best for us, then everything that happens throughout your life is the best for you. Maybe not in the moment you don't see it, and maybe other people wouldn't benefit from the same situation, but whatever you do comes from Hashem. Now, it's also how you take it and what you do with it. Hashem can give us blessings. You can choose to do something or not with it. But it's like I tell a lot of people, like right before the elections, people said, oh my God, it seems like Biden is winning. What is Israel going to do? What do you think? I said, we need to do everything we can, but Hashem has a plan. Right. And at the end of the day,
we have to do our part.
We have to hope that everything we did will lead us to the right conclusion. And if Hashem wants Trump to win, Trump is going to win.
And he did.
And he did. And the same with the hostages. Hashem had a plan. And unfortunately, they suffered. And so many people suffered. And nobody's happy about the situation. In Israel, as a country, they're in a much better place in the world than they were on October 6th. All of their enemies have been destroyed. All of the threats, more or less, have been dealt with. Hezbollah's gone. This threat from Syria is gone. Hamas is almost destroyed. If not, any minute, it will be destroyed. All of the threats that Israel had on October 6th, whether they knew about it or not, almost all of them are gone. And Iran, how can we forget Iran? For 40 years, we've been worried about when they were going to have a nuclear bomb, and then it's gone. The threat is gone. So I believe that sometimes we don't see it, and Hashem has a plan. And everybody that paid the price on October 7th and continues to pay the price until now is a horrible price to pay. But as a nation and as a country, Israel's in a better place. And even if you say, oh my God, but there's so many anti-Semites. No, they were there before, but now we know who they are. Now we can
They've
identify
come out in the
them.
open.
And now we can identify, fight it, educate them, engage with them. Before, it was hiding. It didn't happen overnight. On October 8th, anti-Semites were flooding the streets of New York, supporting what happened on October 7th. On October 6th, they didn't hate us? Of course they did. Of course they did. They hated us and they hated America. They just didn't voice it. Or maybe they voiced it in other platforms. I think that America is in a much stronger place. I think that Israel's in a much stronger place. And for sure, the Jewish people are in a much better place because at least you know who your enemies are, where your enemies have been destroyed, and where we need to get better. So
That's one of the
Hashem.
keys, is that we need to know where we can get better.
That's Hashem. That's Hashem. And if we take those lessons and we use them for good, wherever we are,
That's where we need to be a vessel, is learning from the past.
I hope we do. Unfortunately, many people have been hurt physically, spiritually, emotionally, and we're going to have to help them get through. So first we had to win the war, and then we're going to have to rebuild. And it's our job as brothers and sisters to help in that space. And so we're going to redirect our focus, not just to strengthening Israel, but for helping Israel rebuild. Because God willing, Israel's going to be security-wise in a much better place. And hopefully it'll be a very beautiful opportunity for Jews to grow together and to help Israel regrow everything that they lost.
Yeah. Well, I'll just tell you something that I'm sad about with Gaza is that we can't put a community there. Like, we can't do what we wanted to do.
But maybe President Trump will, because supposedly it's going to be American territory. And if America is in charge, then Jews can live anywhere they want. Because an apartheid is when you're not allowed to thrive and to have the same rights as somebody else. But if it's an open society, not run by Hamas and Muslim extremists, and it's run by the United States, why can't Jews live there? Jews can live anywhere.
Well, we have to make sure that happens.
I hope so.
It's just, if we wouldn't have made those mistakes, it would be Israel's. Do you know what I mean? We got to this place, and that was the only solution at the moment. It's true,
but those people living in Gush Katif were living in fear, were living with threats, and were having
they weren't having an easy time
thrown at them all day long. So maybe it's a new opportunity for people to live.
We still shouldn't have done what we did.
Safer. No, we should not. 100% we should not. And those people are still suffering the consequences.
Right.
And a lot of their kids have still not gotten over losing their home, losing their community, losing their friends. It was a very big break in society, and a lot of people suffered and continue to suffer from it. So
well, that's
we have a lot of work to do.
It's an example of, we have
a lot of work to do.
And the work that we have ahead.
For sure.
Yeah, and we can see that you're going to be a part of the healing.
You don't seem like you're slowing down.
I'm not. And wherever I got called in, I'm in. Wherever I can make a difference, I want to make a difference. And I'm not.
So where do you
lazy.
get your energy from?
I sleep very well.
You hit the pillow and you're asleep.
I sleep very well. And
How
if I
many
need
hours?
to take a nap, I sleep like 7 to 8 hours a night. And if I need to take a nap during the day, I will schedule myself a nap. I know that in order to keep going, I need to be healthy and I need to not be tired. I also need to be there for my family.
Yeah.
And so I wake up with my kids every day. And after 3 o'clock, when I pick up carpools and I take them everywhere they need to go, I'm with them.
You've got some cute kids. How old's your youngest?
My youngest is 3.5.
Yeah, and your oldest?
22.
And how many?
6 altogether.
Yeah.
6 altogether. And I try to find time to have alone with each one of them with the things that they like. I just came back from an Omer Adam concert with one of my sons. I had a very special date.
It was so amazing.
It was incredible. To see so many Jews celebrating and feeling good after the hardship. So sold out, but so positive, so empowering, so beautiful.
So you and your son went? It was a mother-son date?
I went with my son and my other kids. The younger ones wanted to go, but they had gone in the summer and he didn't. And my older ones were not around. And so it was a beautiful opportunity. And My son thinks I'm really cool and really fun.
That's all you want to know.
Yeah. So I guess I'm doing something good, right? I'm doing something
How
right.
old is this son?
He actually yesterday said to me, he's 15.
Okay.
And he said to me,
I've also got a 15-year-old
it's cool
son.
to be your son. There's a lot of perks. And I was like, okay, good. I'm so happy that you're happy. I guess
If the 15-year-old son says that, you're good.
By the way, my 18-year-old son calls me on FaceTime and says to me, this is my mom. Mom, say hi to my friends. And I'm like, hi.
Wow.
That's a compliment.
Yeah. And my oldest just said to me that when she graduates, she wants to work with me.
Yeah.
I don't know what she's going to get paid because I have never
Your
gotten
daughter.
paid. My daughter.
Yeah.
So I said,
That's
okay,
also a
we'll
huge
change
compliment.
the world together.
Yeah.
Right?
The
We'll be partners.
mother and daughter changing
So maybe
the world.
I'll have a
Your
partner
Yeah.
starting in May, God
That's
willing.
like the biggest
That's
compliment.
amazing that doesn't like take away from like when you do your advocacy, you don't feel like you're. And I love this approach because I feel like a lot of people say it's sacrifice. You have to give up one for the other, but really it's not.
balance.
It's balance.
It's balance. My kids are out of the house from 8 to 4. I can do whatever I want from 8 to 4 or after 8 o'clock at night when I go to events and stuff. I really, really try very hard to always be there for them and anything that they need. I'm a very hands-on mom.
And you sound like you're good at time management also.
I think so. I think I really limit, my slots so that I don't overstep or hurt anybody. Sometimes I have to travel. So if I can take a kid with me that it's relevant, I take them with me. And I've gotten my kids to very interesting, cool places. And I think that that's part of education. They've got to meet very interesting people, very important people. They've had very interesting experiences. That's another thing that I'm big on. Like, I know school is important and thank God they go to a great school, but to be able to pull them out and go to a Jewish conference here or to a Congress meeting there or whatever it is, I make it a point to take them and include them, and they are fully in. Like, they're all in. I know I've done a good job because my kids love America, they love Israel, and they're very proud to be Jewish. Yeah. What else do I want?
And your family is known as a very generous family.
Thank God.
I think that's such an important lesson for your kids to see, that you use the gift Hashem has given you of wealth to give to others and help the world.
Yes, but I also think that it's not always about just giving the money. A lot of it is the experience. So many times when we're in Israel, especially, I tell them that we have to do one fun thing and one meaningful thing every day. Sometimes it's the same thing. Sometimes,
in Israel, everything's meaningful.
Yes, but if we can bake cookies and bring them to the soldiers at the border crossing right near our house, we did something fun, we did something meaningful.
Right.
If we can invite lone soldiers for Shabbat or to a barbecue to the pool, it's not always about giving money. Many times it's about the experience. And so my kids already have planned things on their own, of things that they invited a group of children with cancer, or they invited a group of injured soldiers. They've already done the work. I set the ground, but they now do the work. And so they'll call me and tell me, Mom, there's 20 people coming for a barbecue on Sunday.
Special.
And so that's how I know that everything that I've done until now has had meaning and has had purpose, not because I was recognized in the Jerusalem Post. That's amazing and I'm so proud, but because my kids are proud of what I've done and because they continue to do the things that I do.
That is what counts most. And that shows, if your kids continue what you do, these positive things, that just shows that whatever you were doing, you loved, because that's the way you can pass it on to
And I
your
included
children.
them. And I think that many times putting money in a tzedakah box is super important because you're teaching them the act of giving, but then to experience where that money goes or to experience
that's amazing
how the money is spent, it's a next level of the way of Torah education. And my husband and I try very hard to give them a strong experiential learning that is hands-on and meaningful, not just in the classroom or at home, but out in the world.
Do you and your husband have similar personalities?
Extremely opposite. If you Google who my husband is, it doesn't come up. You don't know who my husband is. He does a lot very quietly. He doesn't want to be posted anywhere. He doesn't want to be called up to speak anywhere. He's incredibly active in things that nobody will ever know that he was a part of, and it's incredibly meaningful. And his kids know that, and they see him doing it, but you will never see a picture of him, or you'll never see him speaking in public, and he wants no part in it, but he's very happy that I'm doing what I'm doing.
He supports you and
yes,
the style
100%.
you do, and you support.
And he says to me, you can pick 4 events that I'm going to go to and make them whichever one you want.
If you want it to be the number?
Sometimes 3, sometimes 4.
Okay.
If you want me to go to the shul, the school, the soldiers, and the orphans, whatever you want, I'll do 3 or 4, and the rest you can go on your own.
Right.
I like that.
That's cute. That's a good balance.
Yeah, there's so many things going on. So many things.
How do you pick and choose?
I try to go to everything that I can. If I'm in town and I'm available, I do it. And if I can fly somewhere and I'm available, I'll take a kid or 2 and I go.
Right.
I really try to do as much as I can.
Do you worry about them missing school?
Not at all.
Right. You feel
If they're learning something and they make it meaningful and they go back to school and they either have to write about it, talk about it, present about it. But no, I absolutely don't care if they miss school as long as they're doing something that is meaningful and educational.
I'm sure those experiences are life experiences they're not going to get in school.
They're not. I can't teach them about watching the prime minister speak in Congress unless I take them there. You can watch it. It's not the same thing. And so they know that and they get it. And thank God their school is very supportive of the things that we do.
Amazing. So on a personal note, are there any challenges that you have been through that have really shaped you or you learned so much from them that they changed you?
Yes, I think I can think of 3 off the top of my head. First of all, I struggled with infertility. So when I tell people that I have 6 kids, they're like, oh my God, don't you have a TV? Yes, I have a TV. And I had 6 kids that I worked very, very hard to have. I've had 9 miscarriages and my 6 kids were a very long journey. I have kids that are 18 years apart, my oldest and my youngest.
Wow.
And my kids are 4 to 6 years apart in between. So not getting everything that you want and having challenges made me want things more and work harder for it. And I never lost faith in Hashem. I always knew that I wanted to have 6 kids and I was going to do everything I can and I was going to have 6 kids. I mean, if Hashem granted me the opportunity. But
did you try many different treatments? Is that
all kinds of treatments? I've done almost every treatment in the book. Some were successful, some were not. And
with
I
each child you did?
My daughter, I was pregnant. I had her 10 months after I was married. And I didn't realize what a blessing that was. I was very young and I was very shocked. I found out late in my pregnancy. I think I was like 3 months pregnant when I found out that I was pregnant.
How old were you?
20. When I was pregnant, I had her at 21. And I was almost embarrassed to say I was pregnant. And then I guess I maybe took it for granted. And I didn't even know that people struggled. And then I had 3 miscarriages in a row.
Wow. It's a
and
lot.
I wanted so badly for my daughter to have a sibling because she would go to school and she was 4 years old and she was in a Chabad school. She was the only one. And she said to me, why am I the only kid in class that doesn't have a baby brother or sister? And I told her, you have to pray to Hashem. You have to pray to Hashem. And one day when I told her that I was pregnant, I wish I could have filmed it, but we didn't have the phones so accessible. And she said, Hashem answered my prayers.
Aww.
And so even that was a learning experience for her. And I've been very, very open about my journey. And because I talk about it so much every day, every time I say I have 6 kids, oh my God, you have 6 kids? Yes. And I worked really hard and I couldn't get pregnant. And now I have 6 kids. I'm very proud of it. I've helped a lot of people through their journey because I'm so open about it. So I'll speak to someone about my situation and then automatically somebody's like, oh, can I give my sister your phone number? Can I give my friend your phone number? I know someone that's struggling and I've been able to help a lot of people on their journey. I think also believing in Hashem, but believing in the process and having patience and giving themselves time. And Hashem has a plan. And if we don't have kids exactly when we want them, definitely when we have them, we'll appreciate them in a whole other way that other people may or may not know. And so I never complain about my children. I don't feel overwhelmed by them. They are here because I wanted them so badly, every single one of them. And because they are so spread out, I've been able to spend like real time with each one of them until they were 3 or 4 years old. And then they went to school. I never sent them to school early. I wanted to enjoy every single minute and I continue to. And
you should have a lot of nachas.
Thank you. And I share it because I know that it helps other people and there's nothing to be ashamed of. Thank God we live in a time where you get help for anything you need. And so if there's a health condition, If you have diabetes, you take insulin and you solve it. So I don't see it like a taboo. I understand that people are very private about it. And I'm purposely not, because I am happy to talk about it with anybody that needs to talk about it, because thank God I have 6 kids. And when my mom introduces me, she says, this is my daughter Tila. She has 6 kids and she couldn't even have kids. And they're like, wait, what? What did you just say? But because I'm open about it, everyone's open about it. And my kids know too. They talk about it, and they know what IVF is, and they know what infertility is, and they know not to ask people about, they know to be sensitive about whether they're pregnant or not pregnant. Why do you have kids? Why do you not have kids? It's been a learning experience for my entire family. And so for that, I'm very grateful. That's one major struggle in my life. My second, I would say, one of the hardest moments of my life was when one of my children had a very bad situation at school, that he was blamed for something that never happened. And it kind of shattered my entire reality of community work, because I had been so involved in his school for so many years. And overnight, it was like I was a persona non grata. I had to pull him out of school. He was in 9th grade, 15 years old. A 15-year-old boy that gets pulled out in the middle of the year is not good.
Trauma.
My parents were super supportive. My husband and I actually became much closer because we both had to fight for something so hard that we believed in, and it was defending our son. Thank God, he is very happy, very successful, very smart, and if anything, it made us much stronger. But for 3 years, I hated everybody. It was really hard. And I'm a person that's very positive, and I'm a person that is always helping others. And the fact that almost nobody was there for us was very hard within our own community. And the fact that people didn't pick up the phone to ask me, not how's your son, but where's your son? He'd been in school since 1st grade. He disappeared. You're not going to call me? His teachers, my friends, his friends, like, he disappeared. You didn't notice that he's not there. He's been there. He was super popular. He has a big personality. And I was hurt by many people closest to us who were also involved in the school and did nothing to help us. And at the end, I was right, because the people that were involved in the situation no longer work at the school. And we had a settlement that worked for everybody, but that I was able to help a new school that I started. And for a long time, even within my own family, it was like, just let it go. Why are you so angry all the time? Why are you fighting with everybody? I wasn't fighting with everybody. I knew that I was right, and I knew that my son was right, and it wasn't fair that nobody was listening. And it was very painful. It was a very painful experience, but it taught me to say no, because you don't always have to help everybody.
It taught you to say no.
You don't always have to be the one that's saving everybody.
Right.
Meaning, I had helped so many people that didn't show up for me.
Right.
And so when I needed help, and I was literally begging my community for help, I didn't feel that support at all whatsoever. And so there was one rabbi that was incredibly helpful and really held our hand through that process, and we're very, very close friends till today. It happened about 5 years ago. And there are some friends that did stick up, and so
you see who your real friends are, I guess.
I don't know that my other
people
friends
don't have the courage.
I don't know that my other friends weren't my real friends. They were my real friends, but they didn't have the courage.
Right.
And at the end of the day, they weren't just hurting me, they were hurting the institution, because things were wrong and they needed to be fixed, and nobody was listening, meaning other kids were getting hurt too. And so it really, it was a challenge internally for me that I am definitely not over. And I'm not over it because my kids are now in 3 different schools, and my sister's kids all left the school, and all my kids are not in school with their cousins. And so 9 kids were displaced for a while. And once again, my younger ones are going to a new school. It's 40 minutes away from home. Their friends and their play dates and their social life is so far away from home.
Wow.
They sit in a car, and every time I sit in the car to go pick them up,
think about this.
I'm angry. I'm angry because nobody apologized to me, and nobody realized how much they hurt my kids. And it's very important people in this community. And so it's very painful for me, because not only like, how are your children, but like, where are your children? Are they alive? Are they well? You know, obviously now they're okay, and everybody knows my kids, thank God, my older kids, and they have a lot of personality and they're very involved doing amazing things. But it definitely changed me. It changed me because I was always a yes man. And I realized that I don't have to say yes to everything. And sometimes you have to fight again, and it's not popular.
Or that you can continue to say yes, and other people not saying yes has nothing to do with you. It's just there.
But you don't always have to say yes. I don't need
The
to fight
question is
everybody
why-
else's
but
fight
the
because
question
I'm going to
is
have
why
my
you were
own.
saying yes.
I just always want to help. I wanted to help everybody.
Yeah.
But there's people that I helped that would never do it for me. So like,
Right.
sometimes it's a phone call of help, right? Like, hey, can you help my kid get into this school?
Right.
Hey, can you please set up a meeting for me with so-and-so? Hey, can you invite someone on my podcast? It's a phone call, and you have relationships, and you're
Right.
happy to share them because it's good people helping good people. But when you realize that when there's a real issue, not many people are there to help you through it,
It's hurtful.
it was a hurtful experience. On the flip side, my third major struggle in life was my mother got very, very sick. And some of these people appeared all of a sudden because it was a pity party. My mother was very sick. And everybody said, oh, you know, if you need us, we're here for you. Or anything you need, call me. And I literally answered people very nasty who may be listening to this podcast. And I said, you didn't help my mother or me or my children when we needed you. And so now that you think that my mother is dying, now you want to help me? I don't want your help. And I meant it because it was so hurtful that all of a sudden when, you know, Rabbi Lipsker used to say that your true friends are the ones that are there for you when you're happy, not when you're sad, because it's very easy to be there for somebody when someone passes away. You go to Shiva. When somebody's going through a hard time, you visit them and to make a phone. It's hard. It's easy to feel sorry for people, but to be happy for people that you love doesn't always happen. So Rabbi Lipsker used to say that. And the truth is, when my mother was sick, it was the hardest time of our lives, but we had so much love and support from so many people that really mattered. And my mother got through it because of bitachon, emunah, and tefillah, because
How is
there's
she
no
now?
logical explanation as to why she got better. Her doctors told her, whatever you did is what got you through it. And it was really, she's healthy, thank God, and she's active, and she's amazing, and my mom is very outspoken and very involved. She changed a bit in that she's less public and now wants to spend a lot of time with our family, and we're very happy about that, and the kids love to be with her. She has 18 grandchildren, but it was a very, very, very dark time for our family. Our home was always open, full of people, light and lively, and for many months it was quiet and sad and dark, and we couldn't bring anybody over. And my mother, who is like a rock star everywhere she goes, was,
I never met your mom.
oh, you have to meet her.
Okay.
Jet black hair, big red lipstick, and big green eyes. And she's very friendly and very exciting and a lot of fun, but she wasn't for a long time.
She
And
wasn't
now she's
herself.
back, thank God, but also thanks to the community. So that is what healed my pain of the people that had hurt me, because
Right.
they came out, even many of them that I didn't want to talk to them, and I don't have to. I mean, I don't owe them anything.
Yeah.
You want to talk to my mom, call her. Like, don't pretend to be my friend, because you're not my friend, and I know that. But it got me through because I saw again that the power of friendship and the power of love and the power of community. I didn't mention one struggle, which is important to me, like the infertility one, because it's something that people need to talk about. I was married at 18 and divorced at 19, and I was in a guna for 10 months, and I
wow.
couldn't get a get. I didn't speak about it only because I forgot, because doesn't define me. But I try to speak about it in any setting that I can, because the topic of agunot is a topic that needs to be changed.
Do you think it's changed since then?
No,
I just
it
met
hasn't.
someone last week
I
who
don't
told
think
me.
it's changed.
Yeah, she it was just a recent thing
No,
for her.
more
and she
people
said no
know
one
about
helped
it.
her.
No one helped me. No one helped me. Okay, no one.
How
And I
long did
say
it
it with
take you-
pain in my heart. People that are very close to me that didn't understand how serious it was, that if this person went and married somebody not Jewish, or went to live with someone else, or got hit by a car. I was 19 years old and I could not ever rebuild my life. And he lives in Miami, and he probably won't be listening to this podcast, but I hope that men that put their wives through this, who now have daughters, understand the pain that they have caused and understand what a serious, serious situation it is. Because
What do you think should be done differently? Like what did you feel?
I don't think that any Beit Din does what
Any
needs
what?
to be done. Beit Din.
Right.
A
Bet Din.
Jewish.
Oh, you don't think the Bet Din does what they're meant to do?
No, I don't. And I don't think that the communities rally around the people that really need them. I know right now of 3 people in our community that need a get and can't get it. And so these men are allowed to go to shul and pray, and people do business with them, and they're counted in a minyan. And it happened to me on Rosh Hashanah in my shul, where he showed up and his family prayed there, and he was welcome. And so I understand that's the Chabad way, but I can't forget it. And it's not fair that it happens, and it's dangerous that it happens, because the fact that any man can have this control over a woman's future. Forget in the moment. Like, I had great family, great friends, everything was fine. But if God forbid he got hit by a car and he was in a coma, I could never rebuild my life.
Right.
And I was 19. So
What did it take to get it?
money, and not a lot. It started out as a big request, and he was so petty that it was, and I'll say it publicly because I didn't sign an NDA 25 years ago. It was $25,000, but he started asking for $500,000,
Right.
which then was $3 million. I
Right.
mean, it was 25 years ago.
Yeah.
So money should never be a factor in something like this.
And some people cannot afford to even pay whatever they're requesting.
Whether they can afford it or not,
It
it's
shouldn't
their
be-
parents,
yeah.
probably, not them. And nobody should have to pay for their freedom.
exactly.
It's disgusting. And the fact that rabbis support, and I love many rabbis, but the fact that rabbis will even give a platform to a man who doesn't give a get, and the fact that rabbis have no problem welcoming him into the shul or say we need to talk about it. It needs to be a conversation. No, there's no conversation. If a woman wants to get divorced, she should be able to request a get and get divorced. There's no strings attached. There's no mediation. There's no legal system. There's nothing that should be an excuse for why a man does not give a get. So those are my challenges
Do you
in life.
try to speak to the Bet Din?
There's nobody to talk to. They're so corrupt. There's nobody to talk to.
Yeah, it's a crazy thing because I just met a woman who was telling me this, and it just happened to her recently.
There's nobody to talk to.
She got it from a little
but
bit.
in some rabbis' defense, they don't have the power
Yeah,
anymore.
they don't have the power because
It
it's really
used
the
to be
leadership.
that if a rabbi believed that you should give a get and you didn't give the get, then you wouldn't be buried in a Jewish cemetery. Your son couldn't have a bar mitzvah. You couldn't get an aliyah at shul. You couldn't.
And now
so
that's
many
not the
things.
case?
Now you just go to the shul down the street. But because there's no unity among the rabbis, and there's like this, all the different factions, there's no real power in this mitzvah. And so I really don't understand why we're able to make a Shabbat elevator kosher and we cannot find a loophole for giving a get. I understand that the Torah is very clear about it, but the Torah is very clear about not using electricity on Shabbat too. So people need to get together and find a way to free women, because in no situation, I don't care, even if
women do get together to try and change
I know,
things.
but it's not working because there's no power. The power comes from the rabbis, and the rabbis don't have that power or don't care to do anything about it, or they're like, go somewhere else, go to a different community. But if it happens,
an advocate for Agunas, Keshet Star.
Keshet Star, yeah.
there's a few. But I'm telling you,
Yeah.
at the end of the day,
There needs to be more.
if you don't,
need to make
if you
change.
can't pay,
Right.
I don't know if you know my aunt Shani New. She's part of the women's task force in Australia.
I don't know
Yeah.
her. I don't know her, but I'm telling you, there's so many organizations and they're wonderful. But at the end of the day, you can go to another rabbi, you can go to another community, and the guy doesn't have to give a get. Right here in Miami, there's a girl in Hollywood, there's a girl in Bal Harbor, and there's a girl in North Miami. And we're a great community with great rabbis and great leaders.
And they can't get their get.
They can't because they extort them. Sometimes it's not that you have to pay money, but they have to give up their alimony. They have to give up their child support. They have to give up their home. Why? If you got married under the conditions, and even in the ketubah, that's why I think the ketubah is nonsense. It says how much you have to pay if you get divorced, and the man signs a ketubah. Isn't anybody held accountable? Why do you then have to go and negotiate a get? What's this negotiation? Forget whether you have money or not. Why does a woman have to give up anything in order to get freedom? It doesn't make sense. So we are able to find loopholes in many, many, many mitzvot. Okay, not loopholes, but ways around certain mitzvot. I don't understand why we can't get together and figure out a way to free women to be able to rebuild their lives, even if she is at fault. If a woman doesn't want to be married and wants to be with somebody else, if that's the reason, or if a woman doesn't like her husband or doesn't like the way he smells, whatever it is, she should be able to get divorced without giving up everything in life. And so we need to work on that.
Yeah, okay. Let's get thinking.
Yeah.
About even a little change, something.
Yeah.
I also have heard a lot of people say that when they went through something challenging, and even if sometimes the illness or death of a family member, that people just disappear. And it's a very common story. And
for us, it was the opposite. They all showed up and rallied, and it was beautiful. But some people took advantage, like, of showing up when they showed up for this and they didn't show up for other things when we really, really were begging for help. With my mom, we weren't begging for help.
Right. Well, because maybe the other situation was more controversial, and
everything's controversial.
Yeah. Well, no, someone sick, you just go visit, but something else that everyone has different opinions of. People,
okay, but being there for people shouldn't be conditional.
Right.
If you're really
that's what I'm saying. They obviously didn't have the courage.
And the same people that were not there for me when I needed them, I had been there for them in other situations.
Right.
Those same people.
A lot of people are followers, and they don't want to stand out and do something different.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
And some people also like to be in positions of power, but don't use their power for something good.
Right. How long after you got the get did you get married?
Very quickly.
Very quickly?
Yeah.
Did you realize certain things that you wanted
in a husband? I knew exactly what I wanted.
Yeah, so what was it that you wanted?
I wanted somebody that cared about religion. I wanted somebody that cared about Israel. And I wanted somebody who loved and admired who I was and what I stood for. And so somebody that was constantly telling me to shut up, nobody cares, or fighting me on things that had to do with religion, Shabbat, mikvah, holidays. He actually told me that I invented that there's a 2-day holiday at the end of Pesach.
You mean your ex?
Yeah, I invented that. I wish I was so powerful. I didn't invent that, but and he also said to me once that he had already been to Israel. Why did we have to go back? So I was like, clearly he doesn't understand who I am. And I was 18, I was young. Right. But it actually made me much stronger in my convictions and made me realize exactly who I was and exactly what I needed in life. And so I've been married for 23 years, and my husband is religious, he's a Zionist, and he cares very much about my opinion.
Yeah, well, thank God.
Thank God.
The beauty of being around what you don't want is that it clarifies what you do
100%.
Yeah.
But that's why we were talking about before, like sometimes these challenges and your faith will lead you ultimately to what is good. But in the moment, it's very hard and very painful.
Right. Yeah. Sometimes you only really see it later.
Yeah.
Like, now I understand what Hashem.
In hindsight, of course. But it's still painful, and it's valid, and it hurts. Many things hurt.
Yeah.
And you don't have to forget about what hurt. That pain could bring you into somewhere else. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
pain is the greatest impetus for growth. It just, you have to remember that.
We hope that the pain is never so bad that we can't tolerate it, but it should be powerful enough to cause you and propel you forward to grow.
Well, it's powerful to hear this from you.
Yeah.
And there are many people that are listening that I'm sure are going through what you've been through, and to know that you've pulled through and that you've learned lessons and you're sharing the lessons that you've learned from those things.
Thank God.
I'm
here to tell the tale.
No, is very hopeful. It gives people a lot of hope.
I hope so. And if I can help people, I'm always willing to help people and have a conversation, because if I can help somebody else in their struggle, they'll eventually help somebody else. And that's how you heal the world, right? It's like paying it forward.
And anyone who's listening who is going through a hard time having a baby should be blessed to have children like you.
Be'ezrat Hashem. And really, don't give up. We have treatment, and it works. And do everything you can. Hashem gave us the tools. We need to know how to use them.
I would also say to go to the Ohel and ask for a bracha.
Okay.
That's a spiritual thing to do.
I know. When my mother was sick, we went to the Ohel to ask for a bracha. And then after she rang the bell, we flew to New York to go say thank you, which was a big thing. And Hakarat Tov is a huge, huge value that I really, really cherish, to be grateful and have gratitude for those that do help us, even if they're up above. And so when you do go ask for something, make sure that you say
Yeah,
thank you.
it's true. Yes, that is very important and very special. Yeah, Hakarat Tov is a big thing.
100%.
And that's probably what you found hard in your situation where you felt like you did something good and there was no Hakarat Tov.
Oh, I've gone through that a lot, and I really try not to do that to people, not to do to others what was done to me. So I'm trying to at least correct it in my journey.
It's like there's a quote: "Let your smile change the world. Don't let the world change your smile."
Yes, I listen.
You're letting your smile change
all
the
those
world.
quotes for like 3 years. Like people would call me like, "What? You're still angry?" Yes, I'm still angry. Like, why am I just supposed to let it go? It didn't disappear. I'm still driving 40 minutes and back for my kids to go to school.
Are you still driving? Yeah, now you're still driving.
Yeah, I'm still driving. This year I'm driving even farther. My sister's kids had to go to Boca. So every time on that journey, I'm grateful for the growth, but I remember exactly what happened. And I don't think you need to let it go. I think you need to learn from it, but you don't need to forget. You don't need to forgive and forget. You can if you want to. But also, if somebody didn't apologize, who are you forgiving? So like, there's no forgiveness in somebody that didn't ask for forgiveness.
Well, may you see very soon, imminently, why you have to drive 40 minutes away.
I already saw it.
You already
by the
saw
way.
it?
Yeah. We started a new high school together
Oh,
with
okay,
a few
there you
friends of
go.
mine. We have 180 kids there.
Okay, you
the
already
kids
see why
are
you're
changing
driving
the
40
world.
minutes.
I already know. I know, but it's hard.
Yes.
It's
the
hard.
good things are hard.
For sure. Definitely.
Yeah. Well, this has been such a treat to hear you and to hear your voice and to hear all the amazing things you're doing and the growth that you've experienced and the things that you're doing for our holy land and for the people of Israel. And Hashem should bless you to have continued vitality to do everything that you're doing. You know, we always end with a favorite quote. Do you have one? Or a parting message?
I wasn't prepared for the quote. There's a lot of quotes that I like. But I guess I will end it with Theodore Herzl. And if you will it, you know, Im Tirtzu Enzo Agada, if you will it, it will not be fable. It will come true. And I mean, of course, your dreams and your wishes come true when you want them hard enough, when you work for them, when you have faith. And sometimes you need to work a little bit harder. But really, anything that we set our minds to, we can do.
When there's a will, there's a way.
100%.
And you live that by example.
I try to,
Yeah.
and I need to remind myself.
Right.
But yes, I set certain paths and goals for my family, and we try not to sway.
Beautiful.
Okay. Thank you for coming,
Thank you.
Tila.
Thank you.